All right, I am being told that we are all ready to go. So here we have Gyre coming up playing Ultima VII, the Black Gate. Please take us on a journey.
All right, hello there, everyone. I am Gyre. This is going to be Ultima VII, the Black Gate for the IBM PC or MS-DOS compatible. And today, we are going to make, I believe, 2 incentives additionally happen on top of the run itself. One is on any percent after this run is done. And the other is because we have not yet fully satisfied ourselves with killing Lord British. We will make certain that that evil monarch does go down. But for our game here right now, I'm going to need the name of our avatar.
All right, allow me 1 moment to refresh just to make certain. And our avatar's name is going to be Agama, A-G-A-M-A.
I'm familiar with the spelling of Agamas,
Okay.
so we will make certain that noted Agama wrestler Lord British does have to pay for his crimes, and we'll get this game started. Beginning in 3, 2, 1, go. And here is Ultima VII, the Black Gate. Right at the bat, I'm going to be skipping over a really big cutscene that is part of the add-on expansion that is installed in the game. I do that by just going to combat mode, which tricks the NPCs into not giving me a whole bunch of dialogue. So that is looking good. Little bit concerned that my numpad does not seem to be registering properly, but there are a couple of technical issues that we've had with this game over the last couple of days of this stream PC. So hopefully those do get resolved during this, or else I'll be explaining a little bit about what is going on that should be taking place. Small child, get back here. I need to talk to you. This small child is big into the topic of murders, which is what you are thrown into here for Ultima VII. It's a little bit of a murder investigation as you get your entry point of the game. And this guy, he loves murders, and I love murders too, so we're going to take him with us. Now, Spark is, for most casual players, not a big fan for a companion NPC. He's not particularly good. For advanced players, they actually really like him because you can sculpt him however you want. And of course, for the speedrun, we will not care in the slightest either way, so we are good to go. Other thing we're doing is getting a whole bunch of conversation options here. Unlike Ultima VI, where you could just type in the conversation prompts that you wanted, in Ultima VII, you do have to find what the options are before it allows you to proceed. It makes you really have fewer things that you can break as part of the game. All right, go ahead, get this cutscene that was supposed to be done early on out of the way. And we'll talk more about the murders to our friend the mayor here. So there was a blacksmith, there was a key, there was a body, a box, there's some stuff in the box, and yes, we got suspects. I bet this small child probably had something to do with it. Other thing we got is some copy protection questions, so make sure that you do have your manual with this. So Buccaneer's Den, that's at 60 for the longitude. And these are random each time, so you just have to memorize a whole bunch of them. Dagger Island should be 0. And the longitude of Scarabray is 60. Let's see, excellent. We are perfect at geography, which means that we are the true avatar and hero of Britannia. Now this is the town of Trinsic, which is kind of the tutorial section. But now let's get out into the big wide world.
That is the proper direction to travel, Avatar.
And indeed, it is the proper direction that we are going now to the town of Britain. You're hearing the Guardian, who is your ever-present companion and also antagonist throughout this. Oh, Crocodile tried to eat my small child. That is my small child, Crocodile. There is not enough meat on him for a snack for 2, so I am not going to share him. And as we head up to the town of Britannia, this is really an influential game in the history of open world 3D. Early on, we have transitioned from the 2D turn-based Ultimas, Ultima 7 being the first one that is 3D and also in real time, which there are some flaky aspects to it, which they've corrected in Ultima 7 Part 2. But you can see like a lot of the charm and the inspiration that comes in for later games like Ultima Online. Here we are up in Lord British's castle. We're going to go ahead and borrow some items from him. And of course, Lord British has plenty of trumpets for us. So many trumpets. I know I'm doing good if I'm in the secret passageway before the trumpets even stop playing. So here we are, heading up to where there was a cache of items from, allegedly, your playthrough of Ultima 6. And if you check my playthrough from RPG Limit Break last year of Ultima 6, there's only two things I really had. One was a balloon, and the other was the dead body of Lord British. And I'm going to come out of this castle with one of those two items here today. Well, so while I'm doing this, this would be a good time for our host to go and introduce anything you'd like to talk about for our charity marathon here.
All right. I just want to take a moment to remind you all we do have a few bids coming up for next games. We still have a naming character incentive for Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind that is coming up next. And then we also have Fight Lingering Will Super Boss for Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix Randomizer. Got some time for that, so please think about it. And then, real quick, have a $25 donation from Prof NES. No comment, but thank you.
Thank you very much for that, Prof NES. We're talking to Nistel here to buy some spells. Nistel's a recurring character in the Ultima series. See him a lot as Lord British's confidant, but in Ultima 7, there has been something weird that's happened with all the mages of the world, and that's part of the investigation that you're figuring out here. So he is a little bit strange right now, but we can still go ahead and buy 2 spells off of him, one of which is going to be Unlock Magic. The other one was Telekinesis that I got earlier. All right, there we go. Like we got all the spells. No, I do not want reagents. What I want to do is get to the murders. So let's see, it is currently 7:45 in the morning. Means that we need to have an alibi. So I'm going to be taking a nap for a while. Definitely nothing untoward happening while we are resting. Up here in the courtyard of Lord British's castle, there was a real-life event that this is based on. It's actually the only time in the Ultima series that there is an intended way to kill Lord British. Normally we have various mechanisms that we use in order to sneakily trick the game into offing that monarch, but one day during the development of the Ultima series, Lord British was walking out of an office building and there was a metal rod on the side of the building that hit him on the head. And it was a serious injury. He recovered from it. But they did put that into Ultima 7 here. So we are standing right outside the throne room of Lord British. Got to hide behind the trees so that nobody sees us. Especially not that old man down there. And we're going to wait for Lord British to come out of his office. I think I see him.
That is precisely the thing to do, Avatar.
And I think we have managed to kill Lord British. Now there is a will and testament from him on his body, which is a really strange thing for somebody to be carrying around their will. I imagine it is probably for insurance fraud purposes. But that is our first incentive out of the way. And with that, let us head off into our adventure. Excellent. We even got first try on the doorway. There is the moon gates of the Britannia system have kind of been thrown into disarray by the Guardian. There's actually a chance that you just bonk on those doorways as you go travel through them. But we've headed here off into the town of Cove. Let's see, let's go ahead and borrow that potion from you. Put that ring in the actual ring slot. I've got a box, I've got a wand. Of course, if you got a box, you got to put rocks in your box, otherwise, what's the point of the box? There we go, 4 rocks, 1 wand. Let's get out of here. So we are going to be doing the main storyline dungeons of this game in a slightly non-intended order. But this is a very free-form and open-world game, so the fact that you can get to all the dungeons is totally intentional. We're going to be skipping over some of the side questing that's typically involved in it. All right, good. Got away from that bandit or that wolf or whatever it was. When you are in combat or facing an enemy, you travel way, way slower. As you'll see here, the game limiter for speed was a feature implemented in Ultima 7 Part 2. But in Part 1, they were just kind of experimenting with a lot of the real-time aspects. So there was a little bit of jank every now and then. Also be taking a safety save going through. You see a bunch of backup saves I have just in case we have any of the tech problems pop up all the way of recovering from those areas. But here we are into our first major dungeon. I'm hoping to not see any spooky ghosts. Okay, that's a lot of spooky ghosts. Let's load that safety save we made up and try that walk again. Okay to get those green guys that throw rocks at us, but the ghosts we do not want to see. Okay. Try again. Well, the thing about this dungeon is it's fairly non-linear. You've got a whole bunch of teleporters that are blocking your path. And that is supposed to be the major objective of the dungeon as well, but we're going to be using the small child to wedge our way past that. Okay, that is more of these guys than I know how to deal with. Let's see. All right, so we threw that. Hopefully it didn't take too much damage. I'll be able to check that in just a second. Still after me. All right, small child's alive. We've got, which is that, 6 health? Okay, this is going to be really cutting it close. We'll go for it. Just need to have no more spooky ghosts. All right, there's a spooky ghost. We're going to try and set this one on fire here. Excellent, I think we got him. And now let's get into position here. Oh, spooky ghost. Spooky ghost got me. All right, need him to not spawn there to get through this. All right, that time no spooky ghost, that's good. Getting our avatar lined up and separate through our obstacle there. So you're not supposed to be able to get through that without having this hourglass from the Time Lord, but we've used the body of the small child to just wedge ourselves perfectly into that 1 pixel gap on the side. And that saves about 7 or 8 minutes in terms of your total questing, pretty much the largest of the glitches that you have in Ultima VII. Right there to get the sphere generator destroyed a little bit early. Now all we have to do is get out of here. All right, well, the small child may be having some difficulties, but we are still alive. And that is the important part here. All right. Headless guy. All right, made it past him. As long as we don't get any more spooky ghosts, we should be okay here. See if something is spawning around the corner. Okay, another one of those guys. And for some reason, the small child has returned. But that's okay, he's down again.
More Avatar.
And I think we are getting out of here. So there is our first of our 3 major shape dungeons done. I'm sure that small child is doing fine. He wanted to stay over there with the mice and the spooky ghosts. And we're going to be taking a nice long carpet ride. So this carpet is meant to be found very, very late in the game. It gives you the ability to fly around. Normally you'd have canoes or boats or other ways that you travel about. But this allows me to very quickly get from point to point without having to do a whole lot of stuff on the side for it, which helps out tremendously. All right, down we go.
All right, while we're taking the magic
Buccaneers
carpet, Brad, mind if I go for one thing real quick?
Go real quick.
I just want to point out real quick, we have passed $30,000 donated total. Thank you, everyone.
Awesome, that is wonderful to hear. And I'm very appreciative as well for all of the people that donate for both of our Ultima games here today. What I'm doing is going through this area actually backwards. And let's see, did we get the Reaper spawn? We did not get the Reaper spawn down there. A bunch of safety stuff that I had set up there just in case we had problems does not seem to be required, which is very nice to see. And we're going to grab one of the very latest game items that you typically get in the route here, which is going to be the key to the dungeon Hithla. We'll also have some lockpicks that we can use along the way, and this hammer here, which is going to be quite useful for a puzzle coming up. But there we go, Buccaneers done is done. Seems our avatar has a bad feeling, but you know what? I'm feeling pretty good about this one so far. We might not have a small child anymore, but we do have a carpet, and we are going to use it. Other thing that we have is that when we destroyed that sphere generator, it actually broke all of the moon gates in Britannia, including our black orb. So we no longer have any of those fast travel mechanisms available. And that's a major change from Ultima VI, where you had fast travel throughout the entire game and kind of broke the flow of things. So they're forcing you at Ultima VII to be a lot more adventurous, learning how Britannia is laid out in its geography so that you can travel around from place to place. In our case, the place that we're going is actually a secret pirate's cave. Throughout the land, there are these parrots that you could hit with hammers. You might have noticed in the small child's house, there was in fact a parrot with a hammer next to it. And those all give you these clues that tell you where this cave is located. But since we have played this game before, we can go right there.
You had best not do that, Avatar.
He's mad that I'm stealing his pain rocks, and let's go ahead and grab some stuff here. This gold is actually not important to us. We're getting it out of the way. one of the aspects of the 3D nature of this game is that you can actually build things to walk over or climb. In this case, the gold bricks are actually blocking you from the back of it. We put those gold bricks back, since we don't actually care about those. Grab some glass swords. And glass sword is a very famous item in the Ultima series. It does a tremendous amount of damage, but can only be used once. So I've got 4 times that I can attack things in this game with those glass swords, and that makes up for the fact that we're not doing any leveling, any bit of combat practice, and we only have the avatar with your very basic starting equipment. So we are completely outmatched by all of the obstacles that we're going to be facing here momentarily. And now earlier on I told you about skipping over a quest that was intended for the sphere generator. We're going to be doing the rest of those quests right now that we need to have for the tetrahedron and the cube. The first thing I'm going to do is grab some thread. We're going to go fight the stone harpy here. This is normally an incredibly tough fight, very dangerous, but with our glass sword we should be able to just go one-shot it. I'm going to grab our loot here if I can get this key to work. There we go. One thing you'll definitely notice with this game is some very fiddly controls. It is both tile-based internally as well as pixel-based for the way that you experience the game. And so as part of moving away from the tile system, they have kind of divided the game up into much smaller, finer regions, which if you're playing on the original resolution of 320 by 200, you can pretty accurately pick out a single pixel. But for modern systems, it's a little bit tougher to be dead on for some of those selections. As I'm traveling here to talk to Penumbra, if you got anything else to tell us about our charity and our event here, that would be an excellent time to do so.
Alrighty. We have a $50 donation from Dark Sword Huge Blade. It says, shout out to Gyre and all the Final Fantasy pals. Here's the mental health. We have $25 from Rogue with Whimsy. No comment, but thank you. We have $150 from Anonymous and $25 from a different Anonymous. Thank you very, very much.
Awesome, and thank you everybody for donating. It's an excellent cause here for NAMI, the National Alliance for Mental Illness. Very glad that we get to support that for RPG Limit Break each year. That was a puzzle I just did where you have a whole bunch of these clues that you get in the runic language of the Ultima series you have to translate. It's a really neat puzzle, but of course we are speeding through this as fast as we can. We don't get to see all of the fun, small details. Go ahead, take out that wand that we got earlier, the sphere. Drop down those rocks that we picked up. These magic rocks are called Black Rock, and they're part of the Guardian's ultimate plan to conquer Britannia. But they also block out the Guardian when used appropriately. We're going to go ahead and wake up Penumbra here. And you might remember when I talked about Nistel, there was something wrong with all the mages of the world. And so by surrounding Penumbra with the rocks, she's been asleep for 200 years. She's not affected by the Guardian, and so she's able to charge up a ring for us. The ring is the major quest item that you're supposed to have for the tetrahedron dungeon coming up. If you don't have that item, then you fall asleep when you approach the tetrahedron. The sphere that we did was supposed to be protected by that red moon gate that prevents you from getting close to it. And there's a third major dungeon, which is the cube, and that one is protected by having a special helmet, otherwise you just take a massive amount of damage when you walk close to it. And there is some symbolism, it is claimed, between those shapes and Electronic Arts, who had the logo of the cube, tetrahedron, and the sphere. And Electronic Arts would actually go on to acquire Origin Systems shortly after this game came out. So this was the last of the major efforts that Origin did before becoming part of EA. And eventually, when they were disbanded, the property for Ultima has not been developed recently, but fortunately you can still get all these wonderful games on places like GOG.com. Gives you very easy access ways to play some of the old DOS games that are out there. All right, let's go ahead. We did our safety save. We unlock here, approaching the tetrahedron momentarily. In addition to the Guardian having the sound that we have to have the ring for, there's also this big beast inside, which, because I've got a glass sword, it's an easy fight. Otherwise, that is a really tough encounter. One of the hardest in the entire game to deal with here. But now let's go ahead, sneak our little piece back out. And I'm using invisibility throughout most of this game. I've picked up 3 invisible rings throughout here, and rings and potions have basically random timeouts. So there's not a set amount of time that this is going to last, and if we reload a save, we can sometimes get lucky and have it continue persisting longer. So we are going to be definitely carrying those 3 rings throughout. That was the magic ring that we just made there, so we no longer need that quest item. And we can head on to grab our quest item for the cube coming up, which is going to be getting this thing called Catalyte Ore. Now, this is just something that is for Ultima 7. I don't think it is really in the lore for other Ultima games. But you have, you're flying over here on the carpet, a perfect view of the ore, but because it is a 3D game and everything is modeled, including all the dungeons and their layouts, which was a first for the Ultima series, we have to actually go the long way around here because our carpet can't squeeze into that narrow gap. Let's set ourselves down and prepare to go in. All right, looking good there. Let's get our ring on for safety. You're going to get destroyed if you are not invisible throughout most of this game. So these rings and the corresponding black potions, which are potions of invisibility, are super important to have throughout here. All right, there's plenty of jellies, so it looks like we are going to have a little bit of lag going through here, but I think it should be okay. Excellent. Spells will sometimes fizzle when there's a lot of lag going on, so I'm glad our spell there worked. And now let's go pet our dog here. Of course, dogs do not like to be petted, so we're going to put him to sleep, hopefully, and then talk to him while he's asleep. This dog has an interesting conversation line. You actually cannot just tell him goodbye and stop talking to him. He will continue the conversation whether you like it or not. You have to figure out what the optimal series of prompts is to get him to talk to you there. There we go. Dog has been petted. Go ahead and grab our ore that we passed over when we were flying in here. And we broke our first ring. So I've got 2 more rings. I'm okay with breaking the first ring. The second ring, I get nervous if that one breaks. I'll have to take more frequent safety saves to protect myself in that case. But we are still doing okay here. Since I've got a bit of travel time, if you want to have one more time for our host to read anything, this would be an excellent time to do so.
All right, just real quick. I just want to say NAMI serves as a preeminent resource for people searching for life-changing guidance, information, and support as they navigate mental health conditions. Their website alone serves more than 12 million unique visitors annually.
Do you really know where you're going, Avatar?
I kind of know where I'm going. I'm making a lot of this up as I go, but, it's working so far. So we should keep doing it. We're going to go talk to Zorn, who is the only person that's capable of forging the helmet that we need to protect ourselves from the cube. And Zorn, like all the other NPCs in the game, has a rather intricate system of like a day-night cycle where he's got scheduled tasks to go to work or to go to sleep or go to the bar or things. And we really don't want to have to chase him down for that. So I'm going to try and get as close as I can to him without actually tricking the AI on. Just got to creep in here. He's going to be the one in blue. There we go. I got the tiniest bit of his foot. And doing it this way, he doesn't just suddenly snap into whatever he's supposed to be doing for this current time of day. We just found him at his original spawn location. And with that, we have forged our Catalyte helmet. We've got the 3rd and final required side quest out of the way. We're going on to the cube here. And the cube is, in my opinion, clearly meant to just sell a whole bunch of clue books. Most of the parts of this game are pretty straightforward. It's a murder mystery, so there is a lot of things that are not fully specified or fleshed out when you first encounter them. But the cube has a definite stretch where the only thing I can think of is that they wanted to get your 1995 from buying the clue book here. So you'll see that momentarily as we go in. So very basic dungeon, simple to navigate through here. And then when you get to the cube itself, this is where you get blasted if you don't have the helmet. And this, if you want to not buy the clue book, here is the solution to this puzzle. So we're going to go up, we're going to go to the left. Going to see what's up with my keyboard. It's moving really slow. All right, up here, down here, over to the left. Up on this side. And then back down, over here. Over to the right, down here. Right on this side, then you have to go up before you go down, otherwise it doesn't work. Every time I'm hitting a trigger, it will be adding or deleting platforms on here for doing this. And it's also not obvious for where you can actually walk. So a lot of this, you kind of have very
Yes.
significant trial and error. This is actually not the correct path, even though the Guardian claims it is. They're going to take a little bit of fire damage there. Down and around the corner here. Still going. Make sure that you've got your notes following along all the way to the left here. Then back to the right. Then we're going to go down to the right. Go up first again before you go back down.
Avatar.
And you go around here on these platforms. It looks like it's connected. It is not. Over to the left one more time. There is one last trick.
Think again.
And there is our cube. So that'll be on the test later. Make sure that you do have that all memorized for your playthrough of Ultima 7 coming up. And let's head on to finish this game off at the Black Gate. So we have kind of skipped over a large objective of the game, which is this mysterious group called the Fellowship. That's meant to be an organization that's kind of risen up in Britannia in your absence over the last 200 years. And even Lord British, before we killed him, does recommend that you go talk to the Fellowship and join that organization. But what you have uncovered and unraveled throughout here is that those murders that we saw at the very beginning, all that was the work of the Fellowship. Their plot was to eventually kill the Avatar, and of course Lord British as well, but we beat them to the punch. So we do have that on them. And now we're going to go ahead and beat their boss, the evil Guardian. You might have heard every now and then pop up with some unhelpful advice. And we're going to go and complain to him in person. All right, your safety is not as important as getting through this. See if we can find a good spot that it likes. There we go. In we go. This is the dungeon Hidloft, which is used for a lot of Ultima games as a final or near final dungeon. It typically represents the complete lack of virtue in the Britannian society. And in this case, it's actually a really fun dungeon because it actually combines a whole bunch of different elements. It's not just a short stretch. It's not just about combat, but it's got puzzles, it's got combat. And it's a much more elaborate and significant dungeon. So it is my favorite of all the ones in Ultima 7 here. Go ahead, flip that switch, flip that switch. Still have 2 potions, but let's go ahead and use potion right there to slip by that. Very fine Fellowship person. See, potions sometimes run out quickly. Hopefully we're going to be okay with this, but if not, just go ahead and drink the other one. Come on, flip the switch. There you go. Okay. You were definitely coming after me, so I will drink potion number 2. And this way I've got much less danger of breaking another one of those rings, which we do still need to have to carry us through to the end of the game. All right, so we picked up that key, which was the crinkly key. Get on here into a switch puzzle. I'm going to be doing this puzzle basically backwards. So you start off as normal, and then rather than going all the way around this big circle of switches that you have to figure out, what we're going to do is telekinesis it through the wall. Now let's cycle the opposite direction through there. Excellent, looking good there. No. It did not telekinesis it. Let's try that again. All right, that time it definitely switched. Telekinesis not working is sometimes a symptom of issues with the game. I think that time it just was too busy doing other switches to activate that one. And now we got our red dragon friend here. The red dragon can see invisible, so having a ring on does not protect you from this. Instead, we just got to go in as aggressively as possible to run by it. You could try and fight it, but I only have 1 glass sword left, and I need that for the very end of the game here. Let's see. Okay, 1 munch. It's fine. Ooh, I think we got him. Yeah, we'll just kite this dragon around. I think we have made it through, so that's the first half of Hit Loss done. Now we can see all of these Fellowship people here that are hanging out. And for some reason, this pendant's weighing down a switch plate that we need to have activated. Out of the way and into our home stretch here. So I haven't really explained the category for this game, which is the good ending and no debug room. Also, this is not supposed to be me walking through walls. This is a graphical glitch that this particular PC has. Hopefully your version does show you where you're supposed to walk, but if not, there's the pathway through. And we'll have a couple more sections where it looks like I'm walking through walls, which is not the mechanic in here. The mechanic is to play musical thrones, and this is a really creative use of their engine to make the game more expansive. In early 3D, it's very tough to have anything that you can modify, like changing where walls and doors and such are. And what they're doing is they're using hidden teleporters to make it seem like you're in the same room, but it's actually a different copy of it. And they use that a couple times throughout the game. For example, if you want to spy in on an NPC walking around, it'll use a different copy than the real version of it, and that way you don't have to worry about any problems with like scripting and things like that. So they pushed this engine really, really hard in the course of developing Ultima 7, and it's one of the reasons why it definitely became very iconic in terms of really defining the look of 3D open world RPGs for years to come. Got one more throne to sit on here. And we are coming up on the Black Gate, which means it is almost going to be time. Once a cutscene happens, the final graphical cutscene is when I will call time for it. But before we get there, there is a really big soft lock that you can have happen, which we are going to try and avoid here. To get all of my stuff out that we've collected. So we got cube, we got the sphere, we got this wand we picked up. And we'll start dropping these into place. And what I need to do is kill one of these guys here. This is Hook, who we need to hit. And we don't want Batlin to be able to run away. It's like right there, Batlin decided to not teleport out, which is going to soft lock the game, so we're going to reload and try that again. And essentially what happens here is that Batlin is used in the storyline for Ultima 7 Part 2, and so they have a gimmicky way to make certain that he is not killed during battle. But as a result, it can sometimes break the game, and with that, we are at time. That is Ultima 7, The Black Gate. And we have thwarted the Evil Guardian's plans. Also with some murdering of Lord British along the way. And we did promise to do a second run of this game, which is going to be an any % run. This is the good ending. We managed to stop the Guardian. We did it mostly legitimately. There was one time through there where we had to use a somewhat minor glitch to get past one of the quests more quickly. But there is a much, much faster way of doing that, so I'm going to actually quit out of the game here so that we can set up that run here. And it should be back up on your screens momentarily. There we go. All right, and then let me know when it is good to go for our any % run. All right, I'm getting the thumbs up, so we're going to start a brand new game. Let's continue on with the adventures of Agama here. And let us begin an any % run starting in 3, 2, 1, go. Now, exact same start here. We're going to use that combat glitch to skip through the big cutscene that is supposed to be accompanying Runes of Virtue. You got the add-on installed. It talks about this earthquake, and it takes like 2 or 3 minutes to get through, and we definitely don't want to sit through that. So we're going to lock them into place as we go through there, and because we want to go fast. Our pants are weighing us down. We're just going to take them off, put them under this tree here, and suddenly we're in this weird place. And this is part of the QA testing for the game. They cleverly tried to hide where the debug rooms were by putting them into like midair for the teleporters. You might hear the Wing Commander theme, another one of the Origin products playing in the background, but here we've got a nice little room with a lot of magical items. We'll grab one of those rings that we were using. In fact, just in case we need a backup, I'll grab a second ring. I've already broken a ring. That is impressive. Let's grab a third backup ring. Clearly we're going to need it. And we're back at the Black Gate. So this time we're not going to get the good ending, which is a rather very small difference in terms of the question. You always have to destroy those 3 generators, get the shapes in order to get here. The one thing that we're not going to do is we're not going to kill Hook, and we're not going to use the wand on the gate. Let's go ahead, grab our shapes out of here, drop them in. There's 1, there's 2, there's 3, and get ready for time. There is the Black Gate. Slightly faster, 1 minute 36 seconds for that playthrough. And now you're going to see what happens if you don't fulfill all the objectives. You flee home, you never defeat the Guardian, and unfortunately, because of your unvirtuous performance, that is the end of Ultima 7. I've been having a great time being here. My name's Gyre. You'll often see me playing things like Final Fantasy, Dragon Warrior, and of course, Virtual Highlight, all legends of the historical RPG series. Have a great day, and thank you very much once again, RPG Limit Break. Enjoy the rest of the show.
All right, and thank you, Gyre, for that virtuous performance of Ultima 7, The Black Gate. Before you leave, just wanted to have a donation for you from Pirate Grunt, $10. Had to get my donation in during an Ultima game. Thanks to everybody involved in putting on another great event. All right, folks. Stick with us. We're going to run a short ad here, but stay tuned. We've got more runs coming up for you. All right, welcome back to RPG Limit Break 2023, everyone. I am your host, James Picard 007, and we are getting ready for a run of all main quests for the Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind. But before we get into that, we got a few things to say while we're still setting up. We still have a chance to name the main character that you can get in for. Coming up next after that, we have Fight Lingering Will Super Boss for Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix Randomizer. I don't know about you, but I would like to see them take that on. Still plenty of time. And then for those of you, we would send out thanks to people involved in our foreign language restreams. Our French restream can be found at twitch.tv/LeFrenchRestream, and our Japanese stream at twitch.tv Japanese_restream. If those streams can help you enjoy the marathon, go check them out and send them some love. All right. And we have a $10 donation from My Hero Zero. No comment, but thank you so much. One in 5 Americans live with a mental health condition. We at RPG Limit Break are proud to be raising money for NAMI. NAMI stands for National Alliance on Mental Illness, a charity who works tirelessly towards cracking the code of mental illness through various means such as education, leadership, and increasing the availability of care. Please join RPG Limit Break in supporting such a worthy cause.